Hi, this is Jill from Paws and Tails Reiki and Therapeutic Massage, and I'm out here. In about 2 hours there's going to be a front coming through, so the wind is picking up and everything's a little bit wild in the weather right now. In fact, a lot of the animals have taken cover already, so something's coming. But anyhow, I wanted to talk more about the April Reiki card lesson. As of the recording of this video, I haven't posted the card lesson yet for April, but it should be up by the time you see this. Anyhow, it was called, oops, upside down, Conscious Choice. And on the back, anger is usually tied to responses in the past that are of little use to us as we grow personally and spiritually. And it's generally triggered when someone or something fails to meet our expectations. Or sometimes, even more important, when we don't come up to our own expectations. That's all one sentence, and there's more. However, although it may feel uncomfortable to realize it, anger is a conscious choice. Let me say that again. Anger is a conscious choice, and is often just a habitual reaction to a given set of circumstances. So we can choose not to be angry just for today. And this is one of the first tenets, we call them precepts, of people that follow Reiki, is that just for today, I'm not going to anger. And we're supposed to say that like a mantra, one of them. Today I'm not going to be angry. I'm not going to anger. And you have to do it daily, like a 12-step program, because anger is something that sneaks up on you sometimes. So I want to talk a little bit more about this. And well, first of all, one of the reasons I've stopped doing weekly Reiki cards, besides just the time involvement, is because I found oftentimes that a card that I drew a couple weeks earlier was still showing up, that lesson was still showing up in my life a few weeks later. And some of these cards are very, very powerful. In fact, the idea that anger is a choice and anger might be a habit, those are big ideas that may go across more time than a week. So I've decided to slow it down and go a little more in depth with each card lesson and do them by the month. So here we go. Now, I recorded this a couple days ago, about 3 days ago, and the idea about fear and anger just kept coming up. So I did a little research, and if you're like me, I'm a Gen X, and Gen Xers, we grew up with the first Star Wars movie. We were kids when it came out. And, you know, I kept thinking, gosh, there's this quote by Yoda that just speaks to this card about anger as a conscious choice and often just a habitual reaction. And so here is something that I wanted to say on behalf of Yoda. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. I've always been moved by that. That was in one of the later movies, closer to 2000. Movie 5, I think. I'm not sure which one of the Star Wars it was. But it's really cool. Fear leads to anger. Anger leads to hate. Hate leads to suffering. So what this is saying is, although anger is a choice, fear often leads to your anger, fear of something. And, you know, really, fear can be a choice too. And there's another quote by Yoda. Here we go. Remember how he always speaks backwards. Named must be your fear before banish it you can. So we need to identify our fear and acknowledge it and take a good look at it. Do we really need to have that fear? Is the fear a habit? if that fear leads to anger, you know, it's the fear leading to the fact that anger is a habit. I love these quotes. I've got all kinds of them that I got from Yoda. There's another really good one, and this is more of an action statement. Train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. And if you think about what's going on in the world right now, a lot of people are out there on social media, Facebook, just spewing all of this blah out there, foulness, and at the root of it, it's probably fear of loss. Like this says, train yourself to let go of everything you fear to lose. And fear of loss, fear of control, and the fear is leading to anger. So that's something I think I want to spend some more time on this month, and I think I'm going to try to not only work on it with myself, but try to help others with it, even if it's just by sitting and listening, and maybe just by example showing. There doesn't have to be fear of everything. You don't have to get angry about everything. I mean, really, what's the worst that can happen? You know, think about people in the world, you know, that go through a disaster and insurance doesn't cover it, or they don't have insurance. Think about right now in the world, Russia's invading Ukraine for the past month. And these are people that, in a moment, lost everything. I mean, really everything. And guess what? Insurance doesn't cover you in times of war. So you're not getting it back that easily. So in the end, what do you have? You have your life and you have your health. And all the attachments to all the things we have. They're just things. And a lot of us are attached to the fear of loss. The idea, well, if I lose everything, then what am I going to do when I'm old? How am I going to eat? What am I going to have for shelter? And you're just going to have to trust that everything you need will be there, that you will have everything you need when you need to have it. And when you start to lead a life where you think more spiritually, no matter what your religion is, but you go spiritual in your religion, you realize that you have everything you need at that time. If you're without something, maybe there's a lesson in it. Or maybe there's a lesson in an action you need to take. I mean, you know, you may have to go work to get your food. So, just some things to think about. Some of these quotes are a little too strong for our talk today, so I'm going to here's a pretty powerful quote. Fear of loss is the path to the dark side, according to Yoda. And the dark side doesn't have to be permanent, like you're going to become some character in a movie and become, you know, everything evil there is. But sometimes it's a path to depression, or a path to negative thinking, or a path to complacency, or you become stalled by the fear of loss. So in the comments, let's talk about fear. If you want to give another famous quote by Yoda or Star Wars that you think applies to conscious choice, the idea that anger is a conscious choice, and that it's often just a habit, and since fear leads to anger, maybe that applies to fear too. Alright, so I've babbled long enough. What I would like to do is a breathing exercise, and take a moment. If you can sit in nature, great. If you can sit with a pet, even better, since this channel is mostly about animal Reiki. Take a moment, breathe out with your belly. Breathe in by breathing out with your belly. When you go to exhale, expand your chest up. And it's difficult for me to do those breaths while I'm explaining it to you because talking sometimes requires more of a shallow breathing. But breathe in, breathe out. And try to clear your mind. If you have a very, very busy brain today, just concentrate on your breath. If that's still difficult to do, focus on counting. So as you breathe in, count 1, 2, 3, hold, 1, 2, 3, breathe out, 1, 2, 3. And do that until you can slow the little crazy talking fast voice in your head. That recording in your head is often the worry speaking, and worry is fear. All right, now breathe in, and breathe in, imagining beautiful light, like a warm hug around you. Breathe it in, hold it, let it go all through you. Let it pick up the worry, the anger, the fear, all of that. When you exhale, have that light take it away and into the wind. If your brain is still busy, try to focus on counting and the light, and then counting as you exhale. And imagine it being taken away from you. Alright, so I just want to say I hope this month brings you lots of peace and joy and harmony and fulfillment and learning, and that the lessons that you have, that the distress you feel from any of the lessons that are thrown in front of you, that you can handle them. All right. Peace, love, and light. Have a great April.